Don't wait, don't wait, don't wait. And if you help me now, don't wait. Don't wait till I die. Don't wait till I die before you help me. If you want to help me right now. Don't wait, oh sister. Don't wait. I said don't wait. My brethren, don't wait. Don't wait till I die before you help me. I need your help. Help me right now. I'm in the hospital, lying on my sick bed. I just need you to help me with my life, and Jehovah will bless you. Don't wait till I die to rain cast and get my body to the grave. I said don't wait when I die before you praise me. Don't wait when I die to cry for me, man. Oh, don't wait when I die to post my photo. This woman was so sick. She was saying got up on her day. I said she went from place to place, but she could not get the treatment she needed. Finally, her son took her to the hospital. And the doctor said they should bring 5 pounds of blood. But this woman could not afford the money. Oh yeah, giving her son could not afford the money. He left the mother at the hospital. He went to family member. He went to Uncle Johnny's place. He said, Uncle, my mother is at you. I left my mother at the hospital. And the doctor said, we should bring 5 pounds of blood. Uncle, please help my mother. Uncle, help my mother. Uncle, I beg you, help my mother. Please help my mother. Oh, Uncle, help her before she dies. Johnny looked in her face. He said, my son, I don't have no money, oh. My son, no money, oh. What tell your mama say? I don't have no money, oh. I will see what to do. But next week, my son, no money, oh. He went to Auntie Asta's place. He said, Auntie, my mother is dying. I left my mother at the hospital, and the doctor said we should bring 5 pounds of blood. I have come to beg you, Auntie, help my mother. Auntie, please help my mother. Oh, Auntie, help her before she died. Yes, I woke up, entered the house. She brought 500 from her money. She said, my son, I wish you well done. I wish you well done. Go tell your mama, say, I wish her well done. He left, he went to Uncle Bob's place. Papa was so rich. He was rich. He had everything to his disposal. He said, Uncle, my mother is at you. I left my mother at the hospital. And the doctor said, we should bring 5 pounds of blood. Uncle, please, don't allow my mother to die. Uncle, please, don't allow my mother to die. Oh, you are my last hope. my lasso. Uncle, please, don't allow mama to die. What's to lie and look He looked at the boy. He shrugged his head. He said, my son, I don't have money. I'm getting my salary by next month, my son. I don't have money. Go tell your mama, say, I bet you up condition.
That is Wednesday. All things considered.
He started crying. He said, oh God, Papa God, this life is not fair. What will not become of my mother? Who would I call my mother? Before he reached out your husband, his mother was gone. He took his phone. He started calling Uncle Paul.
I'll use something. I'll use when you're
He was crying. Uncle Paul, Mama is gone. Mama is gone. I love her alone. Mama is gone.
This is all things considered right here at the Liberia Public Radio.
Mama is gone. He said, sorry, my son, don't worry. I'm sending her to take us to the
field. Liberia Public Radio. Just hit the share button.
Don't worry, my son. I'm responsible for a feeling.
Oh, man.
My son, don't worry. I'm responsible for wakekeeping.
Boys,
my
Liberian
son.
gospel artist.
Keep courage, don't worry. Yes, I say.
And that's it.
I will do the dressing.
And that's the voice of the Liberian artist, Juma Walker, fading away right here on the Diaspora Informative News outlet, Liberia Public. Don't worry.
Don't wait. Don't wait. Don't wait. Don't wait. Don't wait till
I hope you guys having a great and beautiful time this evening, this morning, depending on your locations. You are on the official news outlet of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR-TV. And welcome in my own cars right there at our Proton listener viewers. Quite alone why we didn't see it, to manage to see it recently from North Carolina. I'm talking about John Alexander Kuyage. Good evening and welcome. Myself declaring my candidacy tomorrow for Liberia. What happened now? Everybody want to be president. Why again be president? Good evening to welcome to the show.
Yeah, the life we living, people don't help.
I tell you, they can't help when you fall down and you keep the bucket and they rather bring all the bouquet flower. He was a good man, he was a day, but when you gap it, nobody knows you. They rather post on Facebook. RIP rap.
Rest in peace.
Days are on the street, selling better ball. They are on the street, selling pepper.
This program is perfectly suited to give you voice. All things considered, don't allow the politicians, neither the media gurus to drive the talking point. Take control of your own destiny.
Don't wait, I'm dying, don't wait, don't wait.
The legendary senior contributor of the Liberia Public Radio scholar himself, Sisse Goyot. He can wait until when everybody go quiet and he can't fire. I don't know why these guys always like to make friends with him online. I don't know. They learn the highway.
Just to send them to school, man. By the time they become somebody, you will come knocking your chair.
They will come and knock their chairs and beat their hair, hit their hair, everything. Welcome, Omanta, I believe, in Australia. Thank you so much joining us this late early morning hour, I want to believe. Good evening and welcome. I'm Afonso Zay and so of the Liberia Public.
But you don't have time to stop their prostitution. Stop calling them prostitutes. Want something to help them. Oh, my brethren, stop calling them prostitutes. Our children are on the street. You calling them so good, but you are not doing anything to stop them.
Exactly. They give them all of the names they thought they can give them. They use them to cloud for them. They are not finding to remedy to their problem. And it's, at the end of the day, they call them, the stereotype them. You need to stop that. Find something to do for them.
Don't wait, don't wait. Don't wait. Don't wait. Don't wait. Don't wait till
that's good. Australia. Thank you so much. Thank you so much by joining. I know it's kind of very, very late there, but the love of your country, you guys, as always, here at Mankato. Good evening. Welcome. You are under the roof of the Liberia Public Radio, the network that gives you the voice, your comments, your views, opinion, matters right here. But all we call for national civility, as we have discussed, the country called Republic of Liberia, one of the audience, right? So when we are having these conversations about Liberia, we need to exercise good and maximum tolerance, respect for one another. But we know that's the hallmark, that's the taboo of this network. Here comes Mr. Darwin Lasanan. Good morning, good evening, welcome. This is the Liberia Public Radio and LPR-TV. For now, we know the organizations of Liberians in Minnesota this weekend will be having a major town hall meeting or meeting with the government of the Republic of Liberia for the closure of the pronouncement of the closures of the consulate announced for what we know the temporary halt. We are getting more detailed information relative to this program. We now know the venue. 2 deputy ministers will be coming, will be facing the microphones and the people of Minnesota. The meetings we now know, according to the organizers, will be held at the community type Ebenezer Community Church, 9200 West Broadway, Brooklyn Park. That's the heartbeat of Minnesota, predominantly occupied by Liberians. It is expected that that venue will be packed. Liberia Public Radio is doing everything possible to be right there, to bring you on the spot, uncensored, unedited happenings at the port. I am Afonso Zienso. The panelists will be coming here very shortly. Let's take this quick commercial and I will be right back.
Do you want to share your events with the world? Why not contact us? We are Liberia Public Radio, LPR. We are the specialists in advertisements, commercials, radio and TV services. We have the professionals that can help you sell your products and provide live coverage of all events such as weddings, conventions, graduations, reunions, anniversaries, sports, birthdays, baby showers, religious activities, funerals, and many more. Take your phone right now and call any of the following numbers: 682-433-8802, 267-648-6089, 484-786-3337, or 916-533-2048. Our customer service representatives are waiting to take your calls and give you the needed assistance. It is LPR, the home of excellent media services and your friends in business.
Good evening, folks. Welcome. I'm Afonso Zienso of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR-TV. With a thank you for sharing your evenings, your early morning hour with us, whatever you are, under the sound of the roof of LPR. That's the Liberia Public Radio. That's the executive mansion, the official residence of the presidency of the Republic of Liberia, heavily been contested. October 10th is just right around the corner. Some are out of the country, some are there to solidify. They are come overseas to solidify their political grade, maybe to raise some money. Election is all about money. But would they would they expose themselves to these predominantly occupied, not necessarily like Liberia Public Radio, but these predominantly occupied Liberian community, Minnesota, Rhode Island, who is in Sacramento, only one person, liberal. He doesn't need to go there because the liberal already has a peg, so his vote there is already secure. What happens to Phoenix, Arizona? Oh, I did hear that he's in Phoenix, Arizona. Was George Weah, the president, come here? But even if he's here, he's just talked to only his base. He just energized his base, perhaps to encourage them, to entice them to go in drove to vote comes 2023 in Liberia. The conversation continues right here. This is All Things Considered, the program perfectly suited to give you voice, take control, take destiny of your own. Do not allow, and I kept reminding over and over, do not allow the politicians to drive the narrative. Let's take the control. We now know the government of the Republic of Liberia will dispatch, or we are understanding one of the ministers will be here, and one is already here. The venue is being identified. Liberia Public Radio is doing everything possible to be on the spot to bring you happening, the conversation unedited, uncensored, as it unfolds right in the heartbeat, predominantly occupied Liberians, Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. Is the Senator of Bonney County in hot water? Citizens calling for the impeachment of Edwin Mervyn Snow. The backlash, the fallout of the central cluster, or whatever, the western cluster. The liberal progressive of the Liberia Public Radio is here, and I guess the other folks are going to be here. We're going to be putting the number here, all things considered. Some of the things that we consider necessarily is not in your favor. So this program is designed just for you to drive the narrative, to take charge of your own talking point. Let me go in the liberal state. Next to Nancy Pelosi, who is already going to retire, but leaving the leadership, not leaving politics, but the leadership, decades in leadership. Let me bring in the liberal progressive of the Liberia Public Radio, Samson Blocko Brown Toe, staunch, high core supporter of Ambassador Jose Nyoma Boyka. My understanding, when Boyka is elected, he will be the next Minister of Public Works. Even though he doesn't know this guy, but I perfectly articulating his message. I don't know how you want us to believe in. The Liberal Progressive, good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Saul. Thank you very much.
Okay, so how did it go yesterday?
It went well with the new guests, and I was amazed that she held her own.
Yeah, you seem not to be a little bit receptive here. Well, the new
No. She held her own. But the point is, any sedition that having to come on an intellectual platform, in order for you have two ways of surviving a platform such as this. For example, you can come in and intellectually engage, or you can come in and throw the CDC weight around, which she did yesterday, by claiming certain things that are just beyond discussion.
Do you want questions or opinions or views? She is, I hope not to be in her defense. I hate to do this, but the conversations have already started. If you look at it, if we want to be honest here, both sides always found themselves in the narrative. The oppositions always give back into the oppositions, give justifications of the actions of the opposition. If it is wrong, proportionally, it does happen within the ruling establishment. Is that a new scenario?
No, it's not. No, it's not. But CDC has taken it beyond the approach of many Liberians. CDC have taken this drama associating themselves with the ruling party to the extent that it's just unbelievable, because seditions are saying things and making pronouncements of things they think are happening right before our own eyes. And every one of us know these things are not in isolations. These things are tangible. People can see. But yet still, they want us to believe that what we're seeing is not what it is. It's more than that.
That's the soundbite of Donald Trump. You remember one of these conferences, and he was telling the media, not the media directly, he puts the media on this thing. He's not a friendly guy. He knows how he can demonize and demean the media. And he was telling his supporters, not all what you hear, don't believe that. Don't believe.
Exactly.
Don't believe
But yet,
it comes from me. Believe me. Now,
But
what is the motive of CDC decisions in your own word during that?
Well, yeah, that's exactly what it is. But what the surprise they're gonna face is that many Liberians are perhaps are quiet, but they are also pretty much disgusted by these kinds of tactics that they're playing. Because if you do those kinds of stuff, you are not only putting yourself in the next level, but that you're intellectually insulting the intellect of many Liberians among us. And people frown on that. They might not approach you right away, but people frown on that.
The conversations is about to be lifted to the next level. Sister Goya, senior contributor to the Liberia Public Radio, also a community leader. So I'm waiting. I know he now draw tons of questions. They shouldn't even give him a chance to do all of these questions. Okay, Sister Goya, good evening and welcome. Doing everything possible for us to meet the first time. We are not even like we are a family here. The commitment shown on this network by most of you guys.
We are not family. We're here as an analyst. We're not family here. Don't come put all in a family situation. There's no friendship here.
Don't mind your event because Jane come to me in Minnesota. You coming to me in Minnesota. He don't know why you can't here. So event.
I have no family business here.
I don't know why you let her go on the event. Nobody want to be friendly with you. Nobody, something. I'm telling you. You kind of try to force yourself. The people love me, they like me, those kind of things. Okay, Sister, good evening and welcome.
Hey, how you doing, Mr. So? Hey, the Libra, how are you doing? It's always nice to see you.
Thank you. So
I felt so sorry for you yesterday. when the analysis was going on, you just gave up and you just
yeah. But Sister, on a very serious note, how can you approach somebody who seem to be in love or not in love, but who seem to like President Weah more than President Weah himself? How do you even try to analyze those kinds of statements?
No,
it's just difficult.
To be fair, though, I think it was her first night, so I think she felt the need to come fire blazing, and I know her very well, so I'm thinking of the subsequent nights.
So that gave me a little comfort because if you say you know her,
because I think she was coming on, and I gotta go defend my position first.
Right.
I think how Wilton, right? Was on, and now
the solace that I take into my slumber the last night or yesterday is this: the fact that you say you know her, and I know you will not engage anybody who is not of certain level in terms of intellectual discussion, who is not able to bring on the table some sensible conversation. And so if you say you know her, then I think we're in a good place.
Yeah, she has been in leadership for a while. I think she was at one point the Grand Cru County Association in the Americas president, national president, and then Minnesota. And so she has a level head on her shoulder. I think she just came in with fire blazing because she was trying to establish a ground. But,
So is it fair to say this guy sort of created and manufactured whatever things the model he put together? My head not fit in nobody more. Nobody he fit in my more. Apparently he went in somebody.
The black who gave her last night.
He held his forehead like this. I like, really? That Waku, yeah? I hear not pay nobody more. Nobody here pay him more. So what happens last night?
Well, I mean, like I said, now that I come with Cece's explanation, giving us some information, so that changed the dynamic. But for me, Mr. So, and you know me very well, I like to talk. I like to engage. But I want something, if I send it, let it come back, that I can still be able to, even if you think that I'm wrong, or even what you're saying is wrong, but let it be something that I can handle intellectually and be able to respond to that. But when you come out and say, this president is the best president forever, what is the yardstick? Are we going back to J.J. Robert? How do I mention that? How do I try to quantify that? Those are the things that was giving me problem last night.
Okay, Sister, today
I think,
Wednesday is all things considered. Let me come in there before you. Okay, go ahead. You want to say something?
well, just one last thing I wanted to lay out.
Hmm.
Remember that the petitioning program for the CDC is February 4th. And she is the USA president. She's on her way to Liberia. So all of that was the reason she was, she felt the need that I have to blast because my people expecting me on the ground, But when she comes back, all of that's going to be different.
You won't believe the volumes of calls, inbox, some for on high ground, some this. But let me ask you here, Sister, this is all things considered, and so we're going to be pulling the ball here and there. You've been in politics for a while now, and both here and other things. What it looks like to defend a ruling establishment? What should look at her positions like? In fact, she's going to be a contributor here. We have been having this conversation in the backyard, and you have said that they will not come. They will not come. So what I did yesterday too was on purpose. I didn't announce anything. I held everything constant, and then she came and said, "Yeah." And I knew it was not a surprise you were going to suffer. But overall, what is the risk, the difficulties to defend a ruling government, whatever scenario, whether they are doing good, they are doing bad. If you find yourself in that position, what do you do?
Well, the first thing is, even in this great United States, it's really difficult to defend an incumbency unless they're doing really well, because now you have a record. And remember, in governance, not every position you take will be popular. Sometimes you have to take positions that will not be popular, and you are banking your bucks on the fact that the outcome, the ends will justify the means. So when the ends don't justify the means, then it becomes a problem. And so this is not unique to George. When you are an incumbent, you have a record. There's a good thing and a bad thing. And most times the opposition can exploit it. You can build a hospital, and the opposition will say, but 10 people died at the hospital, because they have enough doctors on shift. So you have a record and people can poke holes into it. The good thing that worked for the CDC last time was they didn't have a record. People were willing to give the benefit of the doubt to George Weah and the CDC and see if they could lead. Because by that time, all they had was aspirational messages, right? We're bringing hope for change. When we become president, we'll lift 500,000 people out of poverty, and we will do this, and nobody will make below $100 for the PAPD, right? The people were willing to give them the benefit of the doubt, but now they have a record. Now we see that you put more people in poverty than you took them out. There are more people hungry during your administration than there were before, and now we can talk about there are people making less than $100. Now that doesn't mean they haven't done some good things. George, we have governments managed to do some good things, but are they going to be able to actually seal the leakage? Because when you try to focus our mind on something that he's done, there are so many other things that people will say, well, but how about that? Let's look at this one. Let's look at this one. Let's look at this one. So I think they have so many fronts to defend on, and which happens to every incumbent. And I think the luxury that the opposition has is that they don't have a track record. They are like George Weah in 2017, except for Joseph Boakai. They are like George Weah in 2017.
No. So the liberal, what could be the talking point, or would there be like a complete distraction to the ruling establishment? Because whatever happens, even if it is good, it is bad, there's a way the oppositions will kind of put through that needle and keep that point of distraction over. Is this opposition have the capacity, the ability in doing that to keep focus of their talking point as well? Because some of their surrogates, they are ridiculous in doing their thing. They are not addressing the issues. They become more personal in doing that. How can this be done effectively?
Well, first from my perspective, though, I think they have some serious problem. The first one is who is the face besides President Weah? In other words, who will come on that will be believable when he speaks or when she speaks? And so it is difficult. Another thing is, right now, Monuba Malu is supposed to be the chairman. And when Monuba, and what does it say, is quite in place. because when they were running a campaign at the time, Monuba Mono was almost like the face of the campaign, and he was very, very fiery, no question asked. However, now that they have record, they must have somebody. Not only the person must be able to defend the record, but that person must have the command of the English language, where the person will be able to explain effectively, not only to the PhD, but at the same time be able to explain so that the person in total in the village will be able to understand. And that person, as far as I'm concerned, will be the VP. However, the VP now, from what I'm looking at and from my own analysis and everything that I have looked at, I think McGill is stepping back in it quietly. And as a result, the platform is not big enough to have McGill and the vice president on the same stage speaking about the same thing. So the president now will have to make the decision at this time to say, okay, you be the face and talk about what we have done. But if they come and try to mix it up, then they're going to have an issue. Because the reason I'm saying the fiasco with Prince Johnson situation, I believe that fiasco happened because McGill was involved. Because if it was just the vice president, I think she would have been very cautious in trying to go and meet with Prince Johnson, or even inviting or even proposing that. But because McGill is involved, and McGill perhaps felt that he has dealt with Prince Johnson before, so for him it was going to be easy. But if they make the vice president the face of this campaign, then I think they will have some traction. But other than that, any other person you make you can't make Monuba Malu the face of the campaign, because whenever he opens his mouth in front of the media, they leak the audio tape issue will come up. You can't make McGill the face of this thing, because people will ask for the sanction. You can't make Eugene Nangbe the face of the thing, because people, once he comes out, and for example on this platform, first question I'm going to ask him is about the Sam Magura or Sam's whatever that was killed by order of Taylor. And my understanding, according to Mose Blah, it was Eugene Nangbe who transported the body from Nima to Monrovia. We want to know these things. So all of these people, they have some serious issue. But with the vice president, she's standing a bit, even though she has some here and there. But the fact that she was pushed away from the initial stage and kept at a distance, and every Liberian who was involved with the Liberian politics started feeling sorry for her. So she had a lot of sympathy. And now as she coming in, she might not be able to bring everybody on board, but there will be few that will follow her and try to listen. And as a result, they might be able to convince the rest of the people. And so I think the issue right now is who's going to be the face of this campaign. And you can't make any of the Liberian diaspora, Seditian, big mouth CVP, Jada myself, make them the face. It's not going to work.
It's not going to work. Before I go to Sisi here, you place other indictment on Mange that he is involved with what is happening within NPP. Is that what you're saying?
No. He is involved. He's not quite gone away from CDC. He's on the ground.
So on what basis?
What Prince Johnson just told us day before yesterday, that it was McGill who organized to send people to come and meet with him. He refused.
You believe Prince Johnson?
Well, this is Liberian politics. I do.
So, Sese, can we say this sanctions creates a political vacuum or cripples the president's second run? Because Maggie, with all of what is happening, he has his own baggage, and like any other politicians here. But he was one of the guys who, when it comes to mobilizing, for some reason, I don't know, whatever he has, he seems to kind of like his connection seems to resonate with the electors. I don't know whether it's just financial violence and being applied to get the people out, but he plays very well the soundbite of the president to talk about the president. Now, even if he's doing it, it will be done in darkness, not in public as it should have been. He was the face of the campaign. All of a sudden, we saw this coming. he's been off publicly. Does that hate the ruling establishment?
Well, whenever you're going to war, which is how the CDC likes to look at election, because they're revolutionaries. You need all your generals. You need your seasoned generals that have been battle tested. You know, the reason the likes of General J. Hezekiah Bowen could hold the BTC against vicious attacks when the rest of Monrovia had fallen is because the man was battle tested. He's educated, he's been there, he's seen it. And so I'm saying this to say that Porcupine, Nathaniel McGay, when he was in the wild, he was like the J. Hezekiah Bowen that could defend CDC turf. And he knew where to deploy all of the armory. Whether you need a heavy weapon or you need a surgical strike, he was the one that was going into various political parties and getting people to defect. Right? So he knew how to do all of that. Well, that porcupine got domesticated. So that greatly has affected the CDC. And then the elephant, Bekube Jr. He's quiet. He's gone. Those were people that were the movers, right? That could do things. And so yes, the CDC is heavily crippled because they don't have the same. Now they can still recruit, but they don't have the same people that would have been battle tested. So you're looking at the likes of Arthur Zakama, for example, right? He's out. You're looking at the like of Ava Topa. He's now somewhere else. You're looking at Dr. Lester Tenney, who's on the sidelines. And by the way, when you're talking about the Prince Johnson situation, it creates a huge kerfuffle for the ruling establishment. Number one, people will have to defer to Prince Johnson version because here is what happened. Lester Tenney wrote on Facebook that McGill and Tweeden went to meet Prince Johnson to tell him formally that the CDC would not be participating with him because he is a sanctioned person, that they will not operate with people that are sanctioned. Well, if you want us to believe that, you send McGill, who is sanctioned.
That's a dumb one, though.
What? To go tell Prince Johnson, and you can't do business with him because he's on a sanction, right? And this is the first time we use this sling and let, bro. We're not stupid yet. Because how does that make sense? And then the second piece is, though, they are now putting in a public space that McGill is doing the work of the CDC and by extension the president. So now we're looking, is the president flaunting the sanction? Is he doing business with McGill? As McGill becomes his envoy? So either way you slice the thing or you dice it, it is not a good thing for the ruling establishment.
So why will he even McGay form part of that delegation? Knowing Prince Johnson, he is unpredictable. That name perfectly suits him. Nothing guarantees with Prince Johnson when it comes to conversation. He get a boss mob and he can throw it out there when it doesn't go his way. Prince Johnson is all about making himself, because Nathaniel McGee accompanying the group to go meet him when he himself is being knocked off. What was going through their mind?
I think the problem is there's a huge vacuum in CDC right now. Molu is not effective. Right? Molu is not as effective as he used to be. You can even tell from when he called press conference.
What is responsible for that?
I think that's a whole lot. I think the power he had before has been minimized. I think there have been other people who have taken some of the authority that he had after that leaked tip. I don't think he's ever recovered from that leaked tip. And so some powers that he had, he no longer has. And then there are some other people who are staunch citizens that are taking some backseat, even their legislative caucus. So you look at the likes of Solomon George, who was very mad the last time and said that the president has brought in other people into a cycle and he's not allowing them, those that have been on the front line for him, to no longer see him, and he's going to sit back. If you remember 2017 going into that election, those were the loud mouths. Those were the people that were getting the airwaves. If you look at the frequency of appearance of Akaris Gray, that's also minimized, right? Because they are all now, they don't show up as often. They come every once in a while, and they try to make some outlandish statement, and they retreat. From the last time when you talk about the president was using simile, and he said, he was a literature teacher, and they bounced in his face. He went back into the infertile crescent. And then he recently came back up again to talk about Prince Johnson, that he would democratically attack when people keep getting these words when they can be using, how do you democratically attack somebody? And that was the reason last night I asked my sister, what does she mean by people were displaced in their own country? But I don't
Guys,
know.
Let's take a break. We'll be right back. I don't want to democratically attack anybody.
Hello, listeners. This is Mazola, the lover boy. I'd like to invite you to this exciting program. It is called Dancing for Jesus. It is intended to play beautiful, inspirational music to help you turn your life to God. Join me on every Sunday from 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is our way of showing appreciation to God for the good things He has done for us and continue to do. Don't miss this opportunity. Join Mazola Gizi on every Sunday from 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the program Dancing for Jesus. Please be there because I will be here to rock it up for you.
Right, the lover boy, that's Manzola Gizi of the Liberia Public Radio, will be back on the airwaves every Sunday to Dancing for Jesus. Remember something too, right? I'm not sure what I say ever monitor him, but this guy, man, that's your own Kings, man. The guy, I don't know where he gets his energy from. I say, do you have a box of koto or some though rub? Because the way your shoulder, your hand can be moving, I guess it can be rubbing. Okay, let's back. I will be putting the number out here. This is all things considered. Hopefully, our viewers and audience, they can have whatever they are considered. You say the guy said you're going to attack him democratically.
Yeah, they're going to democratically attack Prince Johnson.
So
when the late Momo Juba said that Chancellor donated him to the Liberian National Police, right? Because to donate is to give, and he was put there, so
Please, man, we all please, I beg you. Don't donate him. You remind me of this PRC guy, Swen Dacing. The list, Swenson Daisy, I think he's dead. He went across, when after the council, man, these guys said they were like a wild geese. And those they used to be using those walkie-talkie handset. So what happened across the bridge, man, he came across the other the guy, whatever, Yanam boys, kind of like, we like to test people. And they don't even know those, you can't easily identify them when they say this is a councilman. So you may grab a handset, man. Emergency corner. Emmanuel Secor. So what the hell is this guy you're talking about? He said, Emmanuel Secor. What is Emmanuel Secor? You're calling the police now for assistance, for backup. He said, what's going on? He said, I've been attacked by some people in the red. Those guys that were wearing. So he tries to give a full description to the group that are attacking him, what he was wearing. But that's the part of the ruling establishment. With all of this as well, what is the opposition's, what are they struggling with to get this, to knock this thing off? CDC now, we know it's a tough one, considering all that is been happening and that is ongoing on endless investigation, things happening. Okay, understandable. What is the strategy of the opposition to seal this up? I'm trying to find a way out here.
Yeah, Mr. So I think Sissy said about CDC, and let me just add a little bit on it, then I'll pivot back to your question, and that is Monuba Molu. It's not trusted anymore. The trust level between Monuba Molu and the hierarchy of CDC is very low, and so he cannot effectively be able to find his footing to do things that he used, because in order to do what he used to do, he's gonna have the full backing of the hierarchy, and they're not there. And then the second thing also, along with CDC, I don't know how they study, but they must have loved these adjectives, and the way they do these adjectives is just look at one word and say, okay, this one, and then put it together, and it becomes a word for them. You know, and true story. At one time, I went to CDC headquarters, and I refused to interview Jefferson Kochi because I just didn't like the way the kind of words that comes out of his mouth. They were not insulting, but there's not something that I was ready to listen to. I'll be going, huh, what? You know, I don't want to do that. So immediately after talking to Molu, I left. He said, "Oh, the youth chairman getting ready to." I said, "Yeah, but I'm going out to take care of a few things." I left, but they respected me, and I respect them for that. For them to allow me to stand among them in the sycamore, under the sycamore tree, and allow Monua telling me, "Go take more pictures."
You know
and
what?
they had me going around.
The guy was scared. He called me.
Of course, I was scared. When you
keep your phone open in case of anything, so you record. He said you make.
Of course, but no. Let me go back. Let me go back to your question. Let me go back to your question, which is why the opposition is not sealing it. Hey, this is what I'm going to say about that, Mr. So. If the opposition is going to come to this with believing that they have this thing corner, big mistake. First thing, CDC, they have money right now, and money talks. CDC have money, lots and lots of money. They can put money to this thing, and the Liberians, the voters in Liberia are not far removed from Chikisu and Copper Rice voting yet. They have not crossed the line yet. They're getting to understand the detriment of to themselves and to us of voting for Chikisu and Copper Rice. They understand that now, but to wean them out from that behavior we haven't gotten there yet. So CDC have money. So the best thing the opposition, for me, the best thing they can do is this. If you're not going to collaborate with each other, stop tearing each other down. Let me run my campaign. You run your campaign. Whatever we find, because they're all intellectual and they are highly educated. So sooner or later, they're going to find a line that connects all of them together. And they can use that opportunity to criticize. Other than that, stay away from each other by year. You know, don't insult. But this is where I still blame the person that I admire the most, Ambassador Baka. He's not taking the lead in this thing here. I believe Ambassador Baka is not playing the older person role in this whole political opposition business. Even if you're not going to collaborate with them, you make sure all of your surrogate respect the other folks, because they're just doing the same thing you're doing, except they believe they can win. That does not make them your enemy. That does not make you or allow your surrogate to continue to insult and degrade these people. Because sooner or later, you're going to need these same people. How then do you even go to them to try to reconcile? Even if you're successful winning the election, if you're not careful, you'll go right back to what CDC is now, isolated. And you don't want to be isolated. Because you Ambassador Bakai, you don't want to be leaving you alone with the likes of Costa and the like of Caselli. You don't want to be left alone. You want people to come and want to work for you and help you move the country forward. These people cannot do it all by themselves. They might be educated, but you're going to need young people. But if you continue to have your surrogate to insult people that most of these young people admire, when you call on these senior young people, they will refuse, because you stood there and allow people to insult and degrade people who are family members just because they don't agree with them. This have to stop. If not, forget it. Forget it, Mr. So.
Forget it. Sissy, Um, when I say, are you there? Oh, okay. I think I guess his line was frozen. Okay, he gonna. So he meaning he is allowing this train to derail as what? What is responsible for that? Is he not having his own voice? What is the scary part of this here? Because he, as a former sitting vice president, 12 years, being in government for the long years, he knows the system. He should know how to work his way through. His voice should be an independent voice, not to be regulated or controlled. From what I'm hearing, it seems his voice is being manipulated and he's being put on hold by folks who perhaps he strongly believes they can lead the way through for him. And so don't talk, don't say anything. We will do the dirty work. We have the power to do that.
And that's exactly what I'm saying. I'll give you an example. There's on social media where he be gone to, Costa and his son went to visit Ambassador Barker, which is okay. And he welcomed them. You can tell that he's not only considering Costa his son, but he also considered Costa's son like a grandkid to him. Okay. So if you're going to have that kind of unique relationship, then you must be able to talk to Costa to tone it down. Immediately after that, yesterday, Costa's show last night, he went at it again with Cummings. So now what makes you think that people who support Cummings, who are Cummings loyalists as well, what make you think that they're not going to say, oh, you sit down here again, Costa starting all over again, you're not saying anything? They're going to put that on you. You need to rein in Costa. You need to make Costa to understand as a young man.
Does he have the guts to do that? Does he have the guts to do? What is the fear?
Well, I'm not too sure. Like I said, I don't know these people. I just admire them.
This is what I hate about. This is what I hate about you,
Mr. So.
Yeah,
I'm telling you the truth.
You try to be honest. There's sort of honesty here,
Mr. So. What do you want me to say? I don't know them. I've never met with any of them. As much as I admire Costa, I've never met with him before. I spoke to him one time. I've never met Ambassador Barker. He doesn't even know me. The only person in Ambassador Barker's circle that I know that perhaps I've spoken with would be Lobo, George Lobo. Nobody else. I had Cassidy here one time, but if you put me in a lineup right now, call Cassidy to recognize, to see who steps into it, Cassidy won't know me because I don't know them, but I admire them. But I want to be truthful. So I don't know exactly whether he's afraid or what it is. But if he continue like this, many Liberians would then start questioning his ability to make sound.
Let me put you in the category of those many Liberians. You hear every day crying Chihuahua, acting like a little Chihuahua, Ambassador Boyka, destabilizer. And he has people in his column who are very denigrating to people, disrespect other people, insult other people. Yet these people, he's comfortable with that.
I don't know if he's comfortable with it.
I will say that because you don't want to.
Okay, well, you can say it, but I don't know if he's comfortable with it.
That's who you are because you're feeling very uncomfortable with what I'm saying right now. And I have to just say it because we talk about these Jefferson Koji, we talk about Samuel Tued and benevolent detectives and all of these people that are around the president. If Boyka is to be elected today as the president of the Republic of Liberia, there's no way that the Costa, the George Lobo, and all of these people, and Cassidy, they will be the first, they will be the main handlers of this vice president.
And that's the point that I'm making, Mr. So. Some of us, especially me.
At what point in time you were going to start to have a second thought if this continues?
Well, that ain't your business. So don't worry about that one there. But let me tell you this. Let me just say this. On a very serious note, Mr. So, in as much as I admire Ambassador Bakai, I am not afraid to speak my mind. I would say, if I could be wrong. People will not agree with me. That's fine. But for this thing to happen, I said it before and I will say it again. They hate for President Weah will not give you vote. Don't expect people to vote for you because they hate President Weah. That is not a good standing position as a politician. People should vote for you because they believe in you and they trust you, not because of the hate of the opposition or person they're trying to get rid of. Then your base is not strong. Because sooner or later, when you get in trouble, nobody will come to your defense because they were not in your favor. They were just getting somebody out. And this is what we are. So the point here is this. When I listened to Costa this morning, there was certain portion of that where Costa started with Cummings, and then he called on his buddy, the other guy in Liberia. But the guy was not quite ready to be on board with Costa name calling, and Costa recognized that. Oh, Baga, you don't want to say that coming, and everybody writing they say the man need that coming. Then Waka, and then Waka came by and said Mr. Cummings, and then he said, oh, you still calling him Mr. Why would you try to do that on a platform that many Liberians listen to? And then why now that we cannot associate that with the failure of the Ambassador Bakai to rein in Costa? At this point, when Costa took months insulting, degrading Cummings in this place, every one of us, all Liberians that watches Costa, you know about it. And Ambassador Bakai told us in a hall in Philadelphia that when I get home, I will make sure these things come to an end. Never did. You're here now visiting. You're here visiting. Even if Cummings people were insulting or saying things that perhaps you don't agree with, you as a father for all of us, you put stop to it now. And not even insulting President Weah. Not, it shouldn't be coming from your circle. The insult aspect of this election must stop. Let's discuss issues. Forget personality. Let's discuss issue and policy, because those are things that are going to help Liberians. It's not about whether the man, what he's doing, what he eat. That's not anybody's business. If we're going to get rid of President Weah, let us do it based on policy disagreement, not insult. These are the kinds of things Ambassador Weah need to stand up for. And then many Liberians perhaps will gravitate towards that. My opinion, by the way.
Your opinion. Sissy, I know you went off technical glitches or whatever it is. The CDC has managed to create and it seems to, that narrative seems to fit based on what the liberals say, because if you talk to ordinary Liberian, other people even that support or who are still sitting on the fence because they are looking for actual alternative. They are looking for people who will discuss the issues, the substance, but the CDC has driven this narrative for quite a while. They hate this president. They are jealous of this president. They hate him. Whatever he does, good or bad, it's a hate. And when you look at the folks that also support the opposition, or who are the talking loudmouth of the opposition, their talking point, it goes in line with what is being built within the minds of ordinary electorates. Can this change this sort of conversation? And has the ability to change that? Is it happening then?
Well, I think both of these political leaders, Uncle Joe Boakai and Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings, if, and I want to underscore if care is not taken to have a radical surgery to remove some people that are within the inner circle from being too close to making political decisions, they might end up being like a Speaker McCarthy, where they get boxed in and there's no wiggle room. And then you can't, and as a leader, when you don't have that flexibility, when you don't have that wiggle room, it restricts you and it takes a lot of tools from your toolbox. And as a leader, you want to have a plethora of tools available to you. Otherwise, you just start killing flies with hammer, because there's only hammer you got left to you. And you know, and that comes to what we're talking about. Some folks in the Unity Party that has been deemed as being poisonous to a collaboration, or other people in the ANC that's also being deemed that way, and even maybe people in my own camp. And I think the mark of a leader is when you can recognize that, yes, I need two hands, but if this hand has a disease that is going to affect the rest of my body, that I need to be willing to do that amputation before it spreads, so that I don't have a love for one hand that ends up affecting my entire body. And so I think that is a problem they both have, but to a lesser extent with Cummings, because for Cummings, you haven't seen a lot of very high profile people that have been so, except for maybe his chief of staff and all those people, but they haven't crossed the line into where, you know, they become vitriolic, you know, and acidic in the way they communicate about other people. But I think time is still there. You know, Liberians are forgiving people, we're religious people, we leave everything to God. So time is still there, but they have to be able to do that. And for me, I keep watching and see who's going to be their leader that is going to really, really do their radical surgery and try to remove some people and put them in the back, or maybe even just distance them a little bit, so that you'll be able to have enough wiggle room to make critical decisions. And I don't see it yet.
I don't see that happening. I'm not sure. Ambassador Boyka, comment. And I was listening to a podcast, like you said, some of them, they are not in the hierarchy, but they are there and they are communicating. And that's the dangers of the disseminations of information. Whether one person is listening, one second person is, or two person, as long as it goes in the public domain. Like yesterday, Yasini was on, I was listening to her second thought, and I saw Fatiga, and they were also on, how you call it, Ambassador Boyka. All the old man cannot do anything. We need to get wheelchair. We're gonna wheel him when during the inaugurations of Alice Comey.
Especially Ambassador Muna Farad. She is one of the most problematic when it comes to her posting on Facebook. You know.
So I am wondering, when you have these people as a surrogate, when they are not even, when people are talking that kind of thing, then it's like, I'm coming to the conclusion, do they know what their candidates, their leaders represent? Do they have their agenda in the first place? This is not just only for them. This is dangerous for the country. We have seen that here. Even up to this point, when you have a group of certain group of people still believes the result of the election is still, they should not accept it. And that body is not a president. So these sort of conspiracy, these sort of falsehood or subliminal messages is just all over the place, not just one side. And the second thing about the leaders are not doing anything. They say, oh, okay, the people are talking. Yes, they're talking, but they are talking for you. They are your supporter. They are always at your fundraiser. Think about it. John McCain, the guy who he didn't know in a public gathering, made a ridiculous statement and God went to the microphone. He said, what you are saying, it does not represent my campaign. It is not who I am as a John McCain. Somebody that he doesn't know, my guess. I can say that because we're in a public domain. Here we are, we're having these critical time. The country, economy, the security of the states, the government is oversized. And you also have an opposition. If we are to bash the sitting president or the ruling establishment, they are not doing X, Y, Z. And these people sit on the platform, they are unable to even articulate the policy, the agenda of these people, but all they come 2 hours, 3 hours, range insult goes to Comey, insult from Cummings goes to Boyka, and then they have on it 15 minutes to talk about George Weah's shoe, which is a stupid thing. It doesn't make no sense, which is not helping any Liberian for that matter. You know, this is very dangerous for the country, and the people wholeheartedly embrace this sort of behavior. And then we'll come back tomorrow at the end of the day when the result is announced. Then we all start crying because you are unable to sell your candidate effectively. How are you going to make the educational system works? How the health system is going to be reformed? how the agriculture industry going to be revisited, things that he's going to do, how they're going to downsize government. This is not happening. You are also a supporter of Tier 1 Gonglo. I'm not saying much of that. You do your podcast and all of that, and most of the times you focus on education. You have the liberal here who doesn't know people, but he admire them. That's another problem in itself. You don't know people, they don't know you, but you sell their idea. So tell me, so on what basis, what are you getting this information that you are telling us? They don't know you. You claim you don't know them. That is, so now you can't even represent them in court of competent jurisdiction because they can't identify you as one of their own. They did not give you the authority. So why are you always coming on this network? Equally is equivalent, not in the context of these people that are causing all of this drama here, but your actions is also equivalent to what we are saying here today. So let me allow you to vindicate yourself.
Go sue me. Oh, did my mic now off? I thought my mic was off. No.
You want me to Jesse Jackson?
I thought my mic was off.
Yeah, man.
No, Mr. So on a very serious note. Look, somebody's been writing here that I should listen to the Yasini and the other people. This before I respond to your question, this is what I'm going to say to that. Look, Ambassador Barkai is the father for all of us, especially in this race. Okay, the point here is this: if he was to stand up today and take the lead and call his people and say, we want to win this election based on ideas. If you disagree with somebody's idea, go after the ideas. No more insult. The people, the likes of Yasini and the other people that are insulting or saying derogatory things about Ambassador Barkai. So if Ambassador Barkai leaves off the stage today, they want him to go retire. They think Kumi gonna win? Is that what they want us to believe? Is that what they want us to believe without any support from Ambassador Barkai? No. But the reason why I'm bringing Ambassador Barkai into this is because he's much more at the position where at this time he should be like the elephant skin. It's so thick, nothing can move it. So Ambassador Barkai have been up, you have seen it, you have done it, everything almost. He's been vice president. So the point that I'm making about him is he should take the lead. And if the other people refuse, at least, some of the supporters will say, at least he has done his job. That's all I'm asking. Now, in terms of me coming out here, people I don't know, and based on the fact that I admire them and I try to preach their messages and things like that, what I believe will be their messages, I am not in consultation with any of these people, not even my own sister. So, however, these people, Ambassador Barkai and the rest of the people that I admire, they've been in this game for a very long time. They have track records that I, as an educated person, can go and do research and read about things. There are many things that I read about, I don't like it. But I want to sell my candidate. So I will take out the best thing that I've read. I'm being very truthful with you. The best thing that I've read and bring it out. The other stuff has not gotten him no trouble. So why should I even bring that out? He didn't kill anybody. I should come here and say, oh, Ambassador Barkai was fired by Doe and then can't give some kind of reason here, justification. Why should I even bring that up when it's not going to help me anyway? No, I don't want to do that. So, Mr. So, you can classify me, characterize my position as any way you want. It really doesn't move me. I'm cool. My hair ain't fading your mom. Your hair ain't fading my mom. I will speak the truth. On a very serious note, the fact that I'm here, people that I admire, I don't know them.
That's the question you didn't answer me. Mr. Wollertot Wayne is asking, who's your sister?
I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
We got serious problem in our country.
I can't hear you. That's all I'm saying. You can even yell, say, I still can't hear you.
But how you know they never be yelling at?
Well,
Let me tell you this story. This guy that I work with, he's from what's this what's the place, the Pure Fighting War, where like America was forever and ever, Afghanistan.
Understand?
So he said one of his cousins came to the United States a long time ago, and the people keep calling to send money. So one day he was on the phone with the guy. He said, I can't hear you. He said, well, I'm icy. He said, but I can't hear you. You can yell from now to judgment. I still can't hear you. So it's the same thing here. So, but no, on a very serious note, Mr. So the fact that I come out here to say these things about them does not mean that I'm in consultation with them. I just admire Ambassador Barker, to be honest with you. But I also know, and I will say these things, that if these things are not cleaned up, and if Ambassador Barker having to win, we're right back to the same position. We're not changing anything. So Ambassador Barker must, well, whatever. Ambassador Barker must do whatever you have to do to clean this position. Mr. So you put in people's.
no, let's they are our viewers, they are our followers, their comments. I mean, we all must be here responsible. But this is what Nelson Fremer is saying. I'm not sure you guys want the campaign. I'm not sure how you guys want the campaign to be run by the parties. All parties are running to win. Therefore, everyone, or whatever I'm going to read it, everyone is a fair game. Where were you guys when UP and CDC folks insulted and disgraced Mr. Cummings and destroyed the CPP? Okay, that's a united party. And you folks even contributed to it. GMB is a fair game. We'll talk about him like everyone else.
But yes, the dishonest part on this writer, though. Yes, the dishonest part on this writer right now. In all that sentences that we're reading, there's not one insult describing anybody. And this is what I'm saying. You can talk about him. You don't have to use language or languages that are not of good, of decent, morally outstanding.
You folks even contributed to it. Contributed to what?
Yeah, well, that's his opinion. But what I'm saying is, he's saying this. I'm saying to him that with this paragraph that he has written, there's no insult in it, and that's what we're trying to say. When I say don't talk about him, when I say don't say anything about him, say whatever you want to say about him, but don't insult.
So I think sometimes when we say things here, maybe we're not clear enough, and maybe that's our fault. But when I speak of the temperament of the conversation and the acidity of the conversation, I'm really not talking about foot soldiers spewing bad languages. You can't control that in any campaign. We are looking at people who have very close proximity to the political leaders or to decision making. That's what I'm talking about. You remember you were given an example about the John McCain thing, but remember Jeremiah Wright?
Yeah, Reverend Wright.
Reverend Wright. When it was found out that he had said some things that were not quite right, then the Obamas distanced him from their campaign. And this is the guy who had baptized their kids, who married them. This is their pastor. So we're not saying somebody who sits on the internet and throws stuff out. When Mrs. Obama said, when they go low, we go high, just certain setting the stage, the temperament of the conversation. Nobody is saying you can't hold Joseph Yuma Boakai to account for his years in government and your perception that he's been corrupt and part of corruption, and to get him to account. By all means, that is fair game. Absolutely fair game. The Liberian people need to know, and that is their right to question him. But when some of the things would be really around, when people almost look that they are celebrating for his death, that is what I got a problem with, right? There is a way, there's a genuine and humane way to discuss and say, look, this man is going to be, making critical decisions for our national defense, for our health and education, and our economy, and our daily sustenance for the next 6 years. Can his health condition and his age support that? Those are legitimate questions. But when you try to be funny about it and flippant about it, that is where I got a problem. It is the same thing I've been on this network saying is complete, it's utter, and I'm going to use this language, but I apologize, but it's utter nonsense to talk about Alexander B. Cummings and talk about his struggle with a left style. When in fact, there is zero credibility around that. And the man has come out and denied that over and over. And to the best extent, the information all there available to us, the man is a happily married man in a heterosexual relationship with children. So I frown on people who try to say Alexander Cummings struggle with the lifestyle. And I've always asked the question, how does that affect the economic plan? How does that affect him providing better education? How does that affect him being able to provide better healthcare delivery system for the Liberian people? How does that affect him bringing more jobs, creating opportunities for businesses and investors to come? I've been on here saying that is taking our conversation down to the quarter. It's the same reason why I get very disappointed in people when they come out here and try to critique the language skills of George Weah. We all know that. The president himself told you that he will not be judged by the eloquence of his speeches. So when George Weah can, like today talking, George Weah say he can make Coca-Cola, he can do that. Do we really want to be involved in that conversation, or you want to look at the message he's trying to send? And you're trying to look at that economic message, because what he's attacking is that Cummings experiences in corporate America might not transfer readily to governance. That's the point George Weah was making. And I think we can ignore everything around it about the Coca-Cola making whatever thing he was trying to say and go and say, yes, it can happen. And these are ways that we're seeing him reflect that. And I think to the extent that those people that are closer to these decision makers are elevating the conversation, I think the foot soldiers on the ground will elevate the conversation. But when we come here and talk about George Weah and his shoe and not marching or marching and this and that, we actually doing a disservice to the people who are looking up to some of us and some of those people for political guidance, for a way to influence their vote. And that's what we've been saying. I'm not saying don't go after Joseph Yuma Boakai to account for his years in office, or go after Cummings for showing whether he can translate a corporate America experience into governance, or go after Tiawan Gonglo to account. Nobody's saying that. We're just saying don't look like you're celebrating somebody's death, or don't look like you're coming to demean somebody and say they struggle with a lifestyle when you know that is not the situation.
And I think, Cesar, you have explained that's the simplest, and the equation is being simplified to the lowest end. There's no any number we can plug into that. And that's all we always try to preach on this network, our talking point, because we have to create a scenario, a situation thereby the Liberian will get a clear sense. But unfortunately, the entertainment aspect has been inserted into national conversations is helped to kill the substance of our conversations, and people love to be entertained more than getting to the real news. And I think these people who wants to be leader, that's their leadership style and their decision making. That all we are questioning. So we just want to make sure we don't want to come back here tomorrow and say, oh, I didn't know this, knowing what I know now. No, when I know now, it's already done, it's already over. Okay, so Edwin Snow is in the fries. This Western cluster is not going away. courtesy of our sister network television. So I want you to play this. I don't know where it will go, but the drama is inside Liberia. Let's listen to this, guys, and then we will have our final talking point on it.
The chairperson of the citizen of Bombay County to impeach Senator Edwin Melvin Snow of Bombay County. So Mr. Charles Brown will speak to us briefly on KMTV and Vaspoon as well. Mr. Charles Brown, welcome to KMTV.
Thank you very much. Thank you for affording me the opportunity. As you can see, my physical morphology speaks to the fact that we are in a battle. We are in a battle, and we must end that battle.
Professor Goya, a physical what?
Morphology.
Yeah, that country has where to go.
Wow. And this is a man that want to get rid of Edwin Snow. Wow.
No, I'm just asking you. Let the professor break it down. Okay, let's listen to the physical morphology.
Meaning, I just returned from the county because of national duty. Being the deputy director of press at La Sunday, I needed to come and perform my national duty. So, as you can see, I have come to the public to display what we intend to do to Honorable Edwin Melvin Snow. This time, he will not go unpunished. There are too many things he be doing in the country, and people just leave it. So he's been claiming himself as a hero. Looking at what we are about to do, it will be a precedent set, and we're going to set that precedent. Honorable Snow, sometime last year, led a team of government officials, including himself, to India to arrange the coming back of Western Cluster. But before last year, we had a deal signed by the National Legislature printed into hand bill called the MDA from the Western Cluster, from Eninito to the Western Cluster. Western Cluster coming to Liberia. Before leaving, Western Cluster decided that they wanted to truck the iron ore. And by then, under the Salif government, we vehemently opposed the trucking of iron ore from Bombing to Monrovia. On the basis of that, we decided to go to a town in Dowen district called Jongoba, where Western Cluster agreed to have built a mini port and do the railroad from the MAM to the port to ship the iron ore of Liberia. We left on it until the Ebola came and Western Cluster left. So up to last year, Honorable Snow was brave to have gone with the Minister of Lands, Mines and Energy to negotiate the coming back of Western Cluster, for which we embraced. We thought it had some good motive. We thought the coming back of Western Cluster are going to provide job opportunities.
Okay, we'll do it pieces by pieces. Snow went to India with the minister, blah, blah, blah. They thought they had a motive. So the question now becomes, prior to Honorable Snow going, what was the conversation with the citizens of Bombay in terms of, they were there before, right? Certain things did not happen. You know, I had to manage crisis when we are not good at managing crisis, but we create crisis. So the question is, they were there before. Certain things did not happen, right, for which they left. So there was some sort of uncertainty. Certain things did not happen. He was going. Did he just leave like that without having consultation with the people, or everybody was just in that thought game? Okay, when he's going, they're going to bring them back, and this thing was going to happen. What was the missing point there, Sissy?
Well, one of our viewers said my necklace is too shiny, so let me adjust my physical morphology before I address that. Look, I know this brother very well. Any one of you remember the late Soko Brown? During the Taylor administration, he was one of the the Soko Brown brother down there. So their way of talking is the exact same way. So every Snow got trouble. If you got this brother behind on his back, and he got Dazzle on his back, he got serious trouble. Because he made a fight can't fit in. They're like crew people in Tomerberg. But having said that, though, on a serious note, away from the morphology, remember you can laugh. Why are you scared to laugh? But on a serious note, these people, Edwin Snow created a problem. I think, and I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt here to Edwin Snow to say his intent might have been noble, but the effect and the method you use, I think, has damaged everything. Number one, Western Cluster left Liberia after they had signed their deal because there were certain things that they didn't do. Remember, Maurice Toma at the time was minister, and he was fired because allegedly certain things were changed and he advised Salif wrongly, when President Salif wrongly, when he handed their way, I think, according to sources out there, that where the oil should have been transferred by railroad was kind of changed to be trucking, and that created some problem. And so this company left. Now, I understand Snow's point to say, okay, well, they have signed an agreement, and the people in Bumi, the unemployment rate is really high. People are sitting out there. There's no development. The community college were very, very below standard. They needed money to improve it. They needed, WIAC. The WIAC building headquarters was actually built by money from these people. So they needed a lot of stuff to boost the economy in Bumi. I get that. But to be traveling as a senator with the Minister of Lands and Mines, and you're both having different interpretation of how long you can't even agree on how long you're staying in India, right? And you come back and there is a memorandum of understanding that supersedes the MDA. And all of this time you're doing all of these things, you have not had any meeting whatsoever with your constituents. You have not sat with these people in what they're doing now. All of these town hall things they're doing right now should have been done before, the MOU. And I think right now he's in a place that is really not comfortable, because now people are now looking at the MDA and the MOU is on everybody's microscope, right? I think recently I was in a Bumi County meeting, and by the way, now I'm claiming my Bumi side also because we need that money. So I was in a Bumi County Association meeting, and we're talking about how do you give 14 million away, to get 10 million out of the 24 million that was supposed to be given to Bumi. So Snow is in a very tight spot, but knowing who Snow is, he's going to come out of this. But he will come out very bruised. I'll give you that. He will be very bruised.
That put a political dent on his potential to be here, because Snow definitely wants to become a president. He will. That's the path he's on. The liberal progressive. Why these things cannot be contained, managed in the early stage of this kind of stuff until it becomes a crisis, and then people try to manage it?
Well, Mr. So, once again, I think Liberia as a whole,
please change your morphology. Let me leave my man Brian before we Bumi can give you a hard time.
Okay, so we're not hearing you.
Yeah, sorry about that. Like I was saying, as far as I'm concerned, Liberian and Liberia as a whole was still struggling. Sincerity in Liberia does not mean anything much anymore. The war has taken us to a place where our psyche is only strong when we're defending ourselves. We can croak you in our mind. It's for us to survive. It doesn't mean that we're intentionally trying to croak you. And so is this. This issue here with this cluster stuff, first of all, why would Edwin Snow try to go over there to do what? You're there to represent the people. If this thing was not done correctly, there are processes that even the stuff that I have here in there, they have room where you can address these kinds of things that if you're not satisfied with them. But you're going to now, you're taking the minister, and for the minister of this administration to follow Edwin Snow on this journey also. That speaks a lot. That means even at the highest level of this government, we Liberians are still suffering. Because if these people have Liberia at heart, you're going to have to set an example to say this is what we want to do. We want to build institutions. And there are institutions that are set up to do these kinds of work, to readdress issues that are affecting mining sectors and everybody else. There are places in the government have structure, except that because of this kinds of behavior from Edwin Snow and like, weakening the institution. Because where the institution is supposed to function, you as an individual decide you want to be the institution. And it's not you, it is not your place. But because we as Liberians do not have, you couldn't have done this here. Edwin Snow could not have done this here during Turbo time. There's no way. Even if you were Congo man or whatever, even if you're in the hierarchy of the Turbo two-way party, he cannot take upon himself as an legislature and take on the role as an in the
Do you see his action as a unilateral one?
Mr. So everything there's nothing unilateral about it. They're mixing. Edwin Snow uses his friendship with this government leader, President Weah, and because of that, he wants to do this thing here. In his mind, he's thinking that he wants to help people of bombing. Well, if that's the case, there are mechanisms that will allow you to do just the same thing you're doing without going over there. Because these things was the people that signed this document. The people that signed this, let me just name them here, Mr. So. And this is not something that Edwin Snow name is not on here. Okay. Edwin Snow name is not on here. Frank Musa, Samuel Toy, and Gray. Those are people that signed this thing. Edwin Snow name is not on there. But what Honorable Edwin Snow thought he wanted to do is to circumvent the system. However, he found out very quickly, even as bad a system in Liberia is right now, yes, still there are mechanisms that if you're not careful, they will come back to hurt you. And this young man, let me go back to this young man making that statement. For me, he's just muddying the water right now. If bombing will punish Mr. Snow, if they feel that what Mr. Snow has done, if it's not in their interest, they will punish him. But for this young man to come out now and start making this noise, if I were Edwin Snow, in fact, I would give him more money to go make more noise. Because everybody's eyes, instead of focusing on me, they will be focusing on him and his message. And it's going to fail. Because Edwin Snow was duly elected. And the Constitution, there are provision in the Constitution, if you violate certain thing in the Constitution, for which you will be impeached. One of those is not in the Constitution, is they go and negotiate on behalf of the government to bring good thing where you thought was good thing and it turned out to be bad. Because of that, you're going to be impeached. That's not part of it. So I think, Mr. So, on a very serious note, the issue of us, and I love this Judge, we are presidency business. This thing, this, like I said the other night, he has shown to the entire population the emperor, which is the democracy, is naked. People now can see through. Many Liberians now can identify how and when a government functionality is supposed to move. We have dollars, they don't come in and show everybody how the Senate is supposed to function and how the Senate is functioning. And you have Yaka Koluba showing us how the House of Representatives is supposed to function and how it's functioning. So people now have the clear understanding of what is happening in the country. And President Weah and his government have also shown us how if the people themselves, if they are not holding the leadership responsible, how corruption can happen so easily. So all of these things, all of these dynamics, I'm happy. I'm happy because the next government are going to come in. Mr. So, believe me, if that person is serious about Liberia, all of these things, they will start addressing them little by little. And that's how you build institution, and that's how you build a true democracy. Other than that, we're just going to be here having fun.
So there's, Mr. So real quick, there is one thing though, Mr. told you right, that they cannot impeach what's his name, Senator Snow. But there is something you're not watching for. There is an undercurrent. The late Bagbala Sana's wife, that is now representative, occupying the former seat that Edwin Snow had. It was Snow who raised the hand of that lady and got her elected. And saying that you're going to impeach Snow is to dirty Snow so much that some of that filth dragged down on this lady that is now up for election. That is the game plan. They're trying to take that seat back. And watch me, if Snow does not address this, that's going to be a fresh foot soldier that suffers. She's going to lose her election because they're going to murder him so much, and she's so tied to him that it's going to affect her. That is the game plan they got.
Welcome, Mr. Amos George. Let's listen to this, some of his indictment or his arguments against Senator Snow, courtesy of our sister network in Liberia.
As you can see, the people are tired with Snow. This gentleman came from Grand Bassa, and we're making our Senate first, our representative, later on making senator. For Snow to have treated the people of Bombing are fellow. Now, gentlemen, ladies, the people of Bombing have decided to impeach Snow on 5 good counts.
What are the counts?
Those counts are: 1, Honorable Snow receiving our 5% scholarship that was given to us by the Western Cluster family from India. And he single-handedly, maliciously, and clandestinely recruited people from his office to India, pretending that he the one sponsoring them. Is warrant impeachment. Count 2, for Honorable Snow to have gone through and for Honorable Snow to have seen the MDA that is higher, that is legal than the MOU, and he sat down with and consented to the MOU, a warrant impeachment. Count 3, for Honorable Edwin Melvin Snow to have gone through an enrichment that Bombing produced the iron ore from the man to the Simple Bridge, our road be patched, and from the Simple Bridge to the port, they get the people new road. That player is satanic, is evil, he must be impeached. Count 4, for Honorable Snow to have been through an enrichment, looking at LMC operation, the remedy all they left there to have gone through an enrichment to truck the reserve iron ore, where LMC today they a lot of money bombing, collected all of the iron ore, and they left bombing with bombing holes. Honorable Snow have gone there to benefit the remaining iron ores, to benefit $4 million where the money was deposited in an account in Ghana. He must be impeached. Count 5. For Honorable Snow to have gone and admit before a celebrating meeting in a multi-purpose building in Bombay County that he went along with the Minister of Lands Mines in India to negotiate the coming of Western Cluster because he wanted Western Cluster to come. And naturally, maliciously, intentionally wave 14 million of our social development money to Western Cluster because he wanted Western Cluster to come back. It's impeachable. We want to impeach him on that. B, to confer. B, to confer. Let me tell you one thing. This thing about this impeachment, as I'm speaking today, I want to announce to the public, I want to announce to the people of Bombing, I want to announce to my family member, I'm calling on Dr. Reverend Kotu Brown, that anything happened to me in this country currently, I'm not safe. Honorable Snow is after my life. If you find my body on the sidewalk, that Snow kill me. You don't have to look for any other person. I'm not safe. Last night, I saw people on motorbike telling me. I flew from my house, I went to Bombay, I slept. This morning, because of national duty, I needed to come to work, I came to work. Honorable Snow is after my life. Honorable Snow is after my life, my people. I'm calling on the Chief Justice, because I can't even say the Chief Justice because I Snow West. I'm not also
So you forget it when it comes to no women. We in trouble in our country.
So the question when you watch these kind of things, so I don't mean to interrupt, but when you watch these kind of thing, then the question I keep asking Honorable Comey is this the country you want to be president of?
Why on the commission?
Because I mean, you know,
Sissy.
I'm just saying. Why would you know? If you want to be president for this, there's a lot that you're gonna have to work with. There's a lot.
Mr. Toll.
Why?
Let me tell you something, Mr. Toll.
Anyway, Pat George coming. Maybe you
our democracy is in an infant stage. Infant stage. So you will see a whole lot will be played out there before maybe someone will be gone and the democracy will get mature. The last time I asked you, I said, are you for a Nigerian campaign? You said no. I told you go and follow that campaign. When you see or you hear what is going on in Nigeria, then you will say, oh, Liberia is a little bit better. But it's not easy there. It's not easy there, something too. The three major candidates, the former Vice President Obasanjo, Atuku, and this guy, the new guy around the black, one former governor, Peter Obi. Yes, and the former governor of Lagos State, the present governor of Lagos State. It's not easy there. So, what people are saying, there are some things that Snow did that will warrant his impeachment. Because it comes with character. Your Senate role is defined. But if anything that they can prove connect to do some bribery, that warrant is impeachment. So people cannot just say, oh, there's not, someone cannot say, oh, there's nothing there, he didn't do anything. No, there are something allegations that are leveled against him. And he himself had made that something, and he cannot explain some things. Because one of the questions here is how $11 million got waived. One of the governor of Liberia, the Senate can waive that amount of money. An individual cannot go and negotiate it and say, hey, you coming, so I will let this one will slide. No. So now Mr. Snow cannot answer those questions. How that money got waived? If it is so true, how it was waived?
So we're able
was the agreement at the time.
The representation of the government as well.
But that is not even fair. You can't hold Snow responsible for that. Mr. Toll just showed that Snow didn't sign not the MOU or the NDA. So Snow went and negotiated something. The government could have said no, but Frank Musa Dean attested to it. The Minister of Lands and Mines signed it. So not to be supporting Snow, but you can't use that to impeach Snow. The man goes to negotiate something, you got all right to say no, the man not signing it.
Look, that if
I said that he said one of the Trump class notes said he didn't sign the document. Come back. You are the senator, you representing these people. So this document was put together. You had no more interest in it. Is that what Snow is telling the people? Now, I brought a company, but whatever the government said, what document is signed, I had now no part to play. But yes, in interesting says who advocated for the people, the permit for the people to be upgraded to start exporting iron ore. It was Snow. His name is there. Because Ellen Johnson gave them only exploration license because they were fighting that they built the port through bombing. And said they were not doing it. The government was not giving them that permit. It was when it came back into the country, the license was upgraded to export the mineral. So there are many questions.
And I know
have to answer to the people of Booming.
So, but Snow also made a position before Sissy comes in here on Spoon. He said, well, he's a senator. And he knows that this money, whatever he had within his region, and all what he was doing to make sure that his people, but we must also understand the government of the Republic of Liberia was fully involved in this investigation. Snow didn't go alone. I quite believe there was a consultation at the higher level of their coming back, and if they are coming back, the terms and conditions. He was just intervening. I'm not saying he's ruled out and we can't question him. He needs to have his part.
But the government is not coming to hear it.
The what?
But
the government is not coming to say which the Snowden is at his posted child because the government is not speaking.
Well,
say no.
Okay, well, that's why if there's any bribery involved, and if it is justifiable, if it is authenticated, not just only saying a account display because somebody gave you a tips of those things, it not just by you saying it makes it a fact, because when you go before the court,
well, that's what I said.
The court
it must be proved. So what I'm saying, in other words, the government that made all the deals, they're not coming to Snow defend or say no, we did this. They are throwing Snow under the bus.
Well, I don't.
They're not saying anything.
I think.
Let me just say. Go ahead, sister.
I think we're mixing two things. There are impeachable offenses, and there are offenses that lead you to be unelectable.
Mm-hmm.
I think everything that Snow has done renders him to not be re-electable, if that's a word, by the people of Bumi. That will factor into their decisions. What, 8 years from now, 7 years from now,
or even remove some important committees if
they still remember that. On the other hand, in order for him to be impeached and removed from the Senate, first thing, he has to be found guilty of at least that bribery. And I want you to let me know if the government of Liberia is in a position to prosecute Snow for bribery. You let me know, and then you let me know that Snow is going to appeal to the Supreme Court, and what is going to be the outcome of that decision. But you further let me know, assuming that the government of Liberia decides to prosecute Snow and Snow is found guilty, he goes to the Supreme Court, his wife recuses herself, and the rest of the justices find him guilty. You let me know that Issa Joseph, who is building a private university for his paycheck, will be able to sit down and vote for the impeachment of Edwin Snow. You know, but this thing is not going to happen. This is far-fetched. The only thing
let me just come in here a little bit.
Can we do it one at a time?
Let me just come in here a little bit. On this whole thing started by the National Investment Commission. He wrote Musa Dean. And in that, Musa Dean, the rest of the people, they have this memorandum of understanding to expedite the resumption of the operation of Western Cluster. That was back in April 14. What? That's the Rice Riot. You know, Rice Riot, anniversary of the Rice Riot. They're gonna steal people again. That was April 14, 2022. And in this stuff here, the people that signed, Edwin Snow, he must have been negotiated, but he's not stupid. You know, after running his mouth over there, everything back, the people that signed for the Minister of Mines and Energy signed, the Chairman of National Investment Commission of Liberia signed, Minister of Finance and Development Planning signed, and then of course Western Cluster Man signed, and then attested to by your only Honorable Frank Dean Musa. So these are people, if you want to hope somebody responsible, these are people you need to talk to. But you know, like Ceci said, the only issue that you're gonna have here, if the people can remember 9 years from now or 8 years from now, is to go after Snow. But this young man here, with him now saying that Snow is after his life and all that kinds of stuff, that's, for me, you can't take these things for granted, of course. But for me, I think he's just there right now. Oslo got to do put his hand around. He said, my little brother, stop those kind of thing. And that boy gonna stop.
Mr. To, let me tell you, if you think Liberia is yesterday, go after somebody and you sleep, you will see it didn't find your body on the street. So in Liberia, when you're going after somebody, get prepared. Don't say, oh, I think the person can do that. I'm not saying, but I'm just saying in Liberia, you go after people in power, you got to be very careful. But since I was saying something, let me just add a little to it. The last time I was sitting down, look at the legislature, what is made up. Sir Joseph is chairman on the executive. So every complaint that comes, Sir Joseph got to hold it. If he ain't certified, it will not go to Abu chair. It will not get on the floor. Look at the House of Representatives. Moses Akaya Gray is the chairman on executive. So when you hear Yego Koba making all that noise, every issue that comes, Akaya Gray is there. He's the middle, he's the doorkeeper. So this is why I was telling you, this is how CDC structured the government, the legislature. I say, I don't know those who are in opposition, what they were thinking at the time, giving these people all these power, strategic places where they got put their position themselves. Ways and means. In the course, chairman is Tamofala. Ways and means. That's Tamofala. So you can see how they got positioned themselves. So you can go out and get a 10,000 petition. You bring it. So I just take that thing and put it on the seat.
Well, also
put it on the
just how just how the seat, even like here, what happens right now? Republicans they talk over the rep, right? They something you saw they putting out committees to carry out investigations, occupying. So I mean, it's the same way. The more seats you occupy, I mean, obviously, it's good for you. But I'm not sure what
CDC were not in Mr. So CDC were not in majority house.
Yeah,
the
but
opposition were in majority. But they sold their soul. They sold their soul.
So
they gave the envelope pass. So all the people got it.
Oh, so you see, then this is what the problem is. This is one of the reasons we kept saying here that these people here, we need to know who these people are, who hands going to be lifted, because it's quite true. This opposition, they were in majority, and everybody, for whatever reason, they went, and they all somersaulted, they're gone. So who you want to blame? That's why we want to make sure these people that are contesting, about 73 seats are at stake right now. We don't even know most of them. They are there, but we don't even know most of them. We don't know the commitment. And this is why it's important for them to be traveling for their day and their experience or candidates seeking the higher office, so that they will also answer these questions way ahead of time before they even get there. But it's not happening. So you can't blame them. You can't blame CDC. You can't blame them.
No, I'm not blaming them. I just said they were very strategic. I'm not blaming them.
But the funny thing has been happening long before Darius DeLong came to the Senate and started saying confirmation hearings. Confirmation hearings were just that. Wambodiki got confirmed before we started having problem with him. You take somebody and you send them to CARI, the Central Agricultural Research Institute. Somebody with a bachelor's degree, you send them to CARI as the head to lead people who got PhDs and doing research.
PhDs
Has never done research, does not even know how to read research data. You send him there, and he was confirmed by the Liberian Senate. So to your point, Mr. So there's been this craziness that's been happening. You give me an envelope, I confirm your person. You give me my envelope, I can't speak. We'll take whatever position you want to take.
Envelope.
It came out from Milton Tiaje. Tiaje, who yesterday was screaming on Helen Johnson's rallies. Tiaje, so they were in the vanguard. They called themselves the progressive, was screaming and yelling Samuel Doe. And he cared the other day, we got to do this thing so that when the people are confirmed, we can send our relative. Can you do that here? He was in this country.
These are the questions you're asking the woman that day. Whether she can call fufu, she can call fufu gu, she can call pomodoro. And now the confirmation hearing question.
Yeah. So look, this thing, but what I'm saying, we have to continue to talk. Because
Okay.
the moment we silence, when we are silent, these people have won. And we can see something moving because this is the problem with the people. Brown envelope, the Southern and get CDC, all the powerful committees. All they were thinking, oh, my man, Jesse, my man, you know, I will do it.
Time has catch up with us at this range, gentlemen. Amos George, walk about I can see their mandate ballet. We're not responsible. You come in
Oh,
here.
I was doing so follow you people.
A full
I don't know he had a
you see, I don't know why Cummings can buy your
no, say, yeah, my phone here. Yeah, my phone here.
We can see it.
We can see
you say Yamafuya, the one thing we see you. You're not even moving. You can't see it.
Man, I said yesterday. I saw my body had a headache. I don't know what.
Yamafuya, but you're not moving.
They were frozen yesterday. Something was frozen yesterday. Then he want to put me in the trouble.
Me?
He say you can't talk.
Where?
You
frozen where?
yesterday.
Wow. Yeah, they really crack your last no. Wow.
But says just doing bad now.
Wow. You need to bring that woman every day. Emma Joy asking for time.
Yeah. You want to change the rule in the middle of the game.
Yeah, he said, Mr. So, you got to put time on us.
Now you know time. I beg you, man.
That lady, she's something else. Wow.
Sarah, now watch your, especially that Mr. Joy, the people who wanted to take vote to get election in America, that's the same thing he wants to care to Liberia. He want Kenya are coming for him. Well, guys, so before we go here,
you know, Georgia, that's not what y'all were doing. I think I talked to somebody. The same problem in Georgia. Right now, in fact, there's no passport, there's no visa. They're not issuing visa in Georgia right now.
But you're not.
That's what she said yesterday.
You're not organized like us. You ain't like us. You better come learn from us.
No. Say what happened? They saved her the first time, but this time they can't save her. Yo, they can't save her.
I mean, the people, Federal is rallying us a petition statement for them to impeach you on the that's what paper force. Okay, so Sese, how is the atmosphere? We have been told, I think one of the ministers should be arriving. One is already here, my understanding. But what is the overall atmosphere regarding the meeting Saturday? What is happening now? What is the conversation before we go?
Well, we've been sending out robocalls. The OLM has been sending robocalls. We don't want to be the few people that go and pretend to speak on behalf of everybody else. You know, we being the people in leadership, you know, just go and say, okay, OLM, all non-board members meet with the government. Here's what we want to know. We want everybody to come because this thing affects people in different ways. And so we're sending out the message. But one thing we've been we've been clear about, and I think our people are looking forward to, is that this is going to be a different kind of meeting. We're not going to be looking at this meeting as opposition partisans meeting with government representative, and we're here to chew them and spit them out. No, our plan, our hope is that this is going to be a meeting, a community meeting of Liberians, of brothers and sisters, sitting down together and looking at not laying blames on why that happened in the first place, but how do we move forward, and how does that moving forward look like? Taking into account what the government was looking at, you know, there might be some constraints that the government is faced with that we don't know. So understanding the government's own constraints, and then saying the citizens' own constraints, and hoping that together we find a middle ground. What gives me courage is that the government in their communication, and you know, these people we've talked to have said that they are not coming with any preformed solutions that they are coming to put upon us. They are coming to us and hoping that together we form a solution. And I think this is how responsible governments are supposed to function.
It can only happen if they decide to be sincere with you.
Right, and that's the point. And so for now, we are. That's what we are hoping. We are hoping, and nothing. They've done nothing to give us an indication that they're being insincere. So we are hoping we're giving them the benefit of the doubt, and even us leaders, we're hoping that when our people come, that they're not going to be disrespectful. They're not going to be vitriolic. They're going to ask questions. We're going to have a common conversation as brothers and sisters, and find a way forward.
Now you're one of the board members. I definitely, and my understanding information we are getting is a community which you have validated here. So is the leadership, the community driven in in a solutions-oriented type, or are we going to go back? Why I took this decision? Why I do this? That's people opening up and go back.
No. We are heavily focused on the solution. We're heavily focused on the solution. As a matter of fact,
I think, Sese, what you guys also need to take into consideration is this is CDC, and there are seditionists here that if they get hold and get involved, they will first of all try to muddy the water, and then make these people to say, if you cooperate, consider you guys or consider that whole area of opposition terrain, and thereby coming in with all the politics and everything else. So while you want to trust, but I also want you to make sure that I hope that you guys will try to verify, in other words, make sure that these sedition talk show hosts and things like that don't try to come and poison this well. Because if the government is coming in and saying, we're coming for us to have a serious discussion, that would be a good program. But if these people get hold of the people that are coming, or even if they get here, then they start calling behind them, or the people here, they're selling out, and then the phone calls start coming in. Those are things you need to watch out for as well.
The preacher not being the horn of the real.
Yeah,
so
one of the things though is that this is an event that is being managed by the OLM leadership in collaboration with other prominent leaders. So we have Reverend Dr. Tabla, Imam Dukle from the Muslim faith, the prominent imam. And we have these reverends and these pastors, elderly people who are really trusted in the community that are leading this. So even I being there, I might not even be center stage, even though I am a board member running for re-election, by the way. But I'm not going to be center stage. And one of the things that we managed to do is to remove ourselves, because of some of us who talk for other political parties. We want to make sure that when we show up to these places, we share all of those political ideology that we're talking about Liberia. And by the way, if consular services were to be moved all of Minnesota, citizens will also feel the same pain, right? They too will have to go find the visas somewhere else in DC like everybody else. And that's why last night I was giving credit to Madame Dwopo, because she is in Minnesota, and CDC has a very strong branch in Minnesota. And she wrote an actual press release when this thing was happening. And she called on the government to reconsider its decision to transfer consular services. And she in her communication spoke about this affects every Liberian and it's not political. And that's why I gave her credit last night, because that was leadership. She had a choice. Other people would have gone political and made it, us versus other people. But she didn't. And I think to the extent that she did that laid a good groundwork wherein our executive director has been able to communicate by phone with the deputy ministers of foreign affairs, and we're able to write a letter that went directly to the minister of the chief of staff to the president, was my former position, Minister of State. And we were told that the president also saw the letter. So this is not something with the people doing behind other people back. The president is aware, the foreign minister is aware, the minister of state is aware, and they are all, in agreement with us that this should be a community-oriented solution, and they come with that. But you're right, you trust, but you verify. But at this point, they have not given us any indication that they're being.
You want my prediction?
No.
The government gonna cave in. They're gonna let you guys have your way. And then they're going to take credit.
That's
back in Liberia.
If I continue to get my visa, I'm okay. They can get a credit.
What would you prefer?
No, I mean, not.
They shouldn't have started the problem in the first place.
When you are done,
The fact they started the problem. The fact they started the problem. Now they're going to take over. Look what we're doing. We're cooperating with Liberia in diaspora.
You see, I don't want to enforce it.
We are working behind the scene. Hopefully,
yeah. So, but I want us to be good. Tomorrow is Thursday. I think tomorrow is Thursday.
You're going to go there, Mr. George? You're going to go to Minnesota?
I think.
Huh?
You can't enter that. You're going to.
No, I want to say something. No. I go. You can provide security for me. I won't go there. I beg you.
See what?
They'll be looking out for the Supreme Court because the guy or the LCC, the Supreme Court, the LCC will be making ruling for this guy. They took from the LCC, Council of Mountain.
All right. Well, in our
tomorrow they will be hearing that argument also.
Subsequent edition will do that. Okay, well, guys, anybody final thoughts before we go?
Well, I just want to say that it's been a wonderful, wonderful show, and hopefully tomorrow when
Joe, don't leave you, stay here. Like you hate women also.
Friday, hopefully we'll have another one where all the ladies will be here, and we're going to have a discussion.
Both work. That will be we can have.
How should I get the migraine?
Not Friday, but I'm thinking because what I'm hearing now, the conference is Saturday at 5 to 7:30. If that's
so. By the way, are we going to have show on Friday?
Yes, we will.
Where you be at?
That's not your business.
You paying somebody where you can ask them what they will be. You don't pay nobody with why you want to know what they will be.
They're too old man there, Mr. Stone. But what I'm looking forward to, real quick, my closing before Pat George leaves. I'm looking forward to the government giving us update on the investigation on the cache of arms and ammunition, and now that the ANC through the partnership with the Liberia National Police and foreign agencies have arrested their criminal, that they now can start their internal investigation now and try to let us know what were the lapses in their own system that led to somebody stealing $70,000 from them.
Where is Jenington Dolake?
Okay, says good night.
You see that the ANC people, when you talk about that 70,000, then they run away. Bye bye, go.
Now, why I'm talking to not leave there, I'm really talking.
Okay. Good night, Mr. Soul. Yeah. Good night.
I'm hoping those because the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, so that wants to get out of their comfort zone. Hopefully, they face our microphone. Then we will ask some of those questions. I know you guys want to be smoking a peace pipe to stabilize the conversation, but I hope that the grand one Minister Sawyer, I don't know his full name. I think one of the Deputy Minister is part of that delegation, according to our understanding.
There is a question here. Isn't the late Dr. Cassell's funeral this weekend also?
Yes, yeah. So a lot of things taking place this weekend. Ben Cassell, very close, we were very close friend, brother. I've been reaching out with the family, but you know, it's too much. I can say for now because man Mazola will be occupied with another event. You know, these things, in as much is a public figure, but you gotta get concerned. You can't just get there and go throw something. We've been talking behind the scene a lot, but we didn't come to a terminal agreement. So it is why it is until the Minnesota on kick up. So I might be jumping there. Mazola gonna be in Philly there, but we'll see how it plays out, whatever the case be. But
not a liberal flap to Hey, you are hosting committee, you can go host the other one.
No, so where is Ambassador Boyka? Can you talk to, even though you say you don't know them, will we have access to him this time around?
I don't know these people.
But Koto Balayan here. Why you keep making my pap? The papa already Koto right here. Or call Josh Lobo. Maybe he will bring a papa.
As something to, I don't have time for that. Saying something to praise and glorify George Lobo to come. George Lobo never call it, so he play here, he pays, so he can. Yeah,
George Lobo scared. George Lobo scared of the caliber of people that we have on the net. I want to speak like CDC. Essentially, I want to speak like CDC. If I want to say, what would be the perfect adjective, words combine two adjectives together. They kind of they're very smart though, because to be able to put two words together and form an adjective that, even though it not good English, but they still put it out there.
If you are against CDC and they can't attack you democratically, we cannot defend you democratically. So
all right. Okay, guys.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Mr. So good night, folks.
Yeah, but yeah. Okay, well, folks, in Radio Land, Frederick, unfortunately, I'm not sure we're going to be there, but what I can tell you for sure, we will bring you the coverage from Minnesota with the government of Liberia and that of OLM. In the meanwhile, if there's anything that could twist the wheel around, we're anticipating an event at Dr. Casselt's funeral, but again, a lot of things involved. So we want to thank you so much for your time, your interactions, your tweet. If this is the first time, we say you are wholeheartedly welcome. This is the Liberia Public Radio, where we allow views and opinions expressed freely, but also bear in mind civility. Respect for one another is key. It is very vital to enter this process that we find ourselves in, and that's the only way we can get Liberia out. If you are here, you just saw the promo here. You're having your family reunion, conventions, graduations, baby showers, anything memorable for that matter. You want to get it out there, let us know. It doesn't matter where you are, where we at. We will find a way. Know when there's no wait. Until then, I'm Alfonso Zianso, on behalf of the entire crew, the panelists, we say thank you so much. We are off tomorrow. Join us Friday. The panelists will be right back here with our ladies. Have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye.
DJ Square Production Classic. They
Oh, don't wait. Don't wait. Don't wait. Oh, yeah, don't wait. Don't wait till I die. Don't wait, yeah. Don't wait, my brother. Don't wait. My sister, don't wait. Don't wait till I'm in the hospital. Don't wait. I'm dying. Don't wait. I need your help. Don't wait. Don't wait till I die. Please help me. Don't wait. Don't wait. I need you help me now. Don't wait.
Do you want to share your events with the world? Why not contact us? We are Liberia Public Radio, LPR. We are the specialists in advertisements, commercials, radio and TV services. We have the professionals that can help you sell your products and provide live coverage of all events, such as weddings, conventions, graduations, reunions, anniversaries, sports, birthdays, baby showers, religious activities, funerals, and many more. Take your phone right now and call any of the following numbers: 682-433-8802, 267-648-6089, 484-786-3337, or 916-533-2048. Our customer service representatives are waiting to take your calls and give you the needed assistance. It is